the reason I've always charged more is that I felt that if you charge more, you're probably going to value it a bit more, and the people willing to spend a bit more are probably going to respect you a bit more.
Welcome to Pricing WordPress, the podcast that helps to remove the mystery and stress from pricing WordPress products and services. You just heard Ben Gillbanks. Ben is a WordPress theme designer and developer. He works at prothemedesign.com, where they make professionally built WordPress themes for small businesses. Head over to the website to check out Ben's beautiful design and development work for yourself. In this episode, we're focusing on pricing for premium themes. I'll be asking Ben about how he prices his themes, how he got into theme development, and how the marketplace has changed. I really enjoyed this conversation with Ben. It's fascinating to speak to someone who's been in the premium theme game since nearly the start and still manages to thrive in what is now a fairly saturated market. Unfortunately, there were some issues with my audio. I apologise for that, but we'll get it sorted for next time. Pricing WordPress is supported by Highrise Digital. Highrise Digital is a UK-based specialist WordPress development agency focused on providing long-term development services for businesses based on WordPress. If you'd like to learn more about them, you can visit highrise.digital. Let's get on with the show. I hope that you enjoy my interview with Ben Gillbanks. So welcome to the show. I've got Ben Gillbanks with me today. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm very good, thank you.
Ben is a premium theme author, and we're gonna get stuck into that and talk about pricing for premium themes. But Ben, I just wondered if you could tell me a bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I've been using WordPress for a very long time, 15 years or so, I think, ish. And I run a theme shop called Pro Theme Design, which was founded in 2007 with a designer in America called Darren Hoyt. We made a theme called Mimbo Pro, which did quite well at the time. And now I sell my own themes on prothemedesign.com and on WordPress.com. Currently, I've got about 20 that are live.
Whereabouts are you based?
I live in Devon, in England.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I'm from London originally, but I moved to the countryside.
You broke away from the big city
Yeah.
and never looked back, I assume.
Well, I visit occasionally.
Yeah. Very good. Cool. So I guess the big question is, to start with, is how did you get started in the theme development world? You said you've been working in WordPress for, I think you said 14 or so years. Was that the first thing? Was that your entry to the world of WordPress? Was building a theme and selling it, or how did it all start?
I made a theme called Regulus, named after a character in Harry Potter, and I released it for free. And Matt Mullenweg took it and stuck it on WordPress.com, which was quite cool. And then I wanted to make another one, and premium themes were just starting. Like Addy was making Woo themes and that sort of thing. And so I thought, oh, maybe I could try making some pocket money. And Darren has made the Mimbo theme, which was one of the first magazine themes. So I contacted him and said, hey, do you want to partner and try and make something, make some money together? And so that's what we did.
What did the kind of marketplace look like back then? Like, how did you may not know the answer to this, but how did premium themes even come about? Like, how was it even a thing?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember. I think there must have been someone before me, because I wouldn't have thought of charging otherwise. I've always had like hobbies on the side where I've tried to make money. Like when I was at university, I started making video games because I studied digital art and I was into that sort of thing. So I was selling shareware games, and so I'd done a bit of the sort of e-commerce-y things before. So there's always been this thing in me of trying to earn my own living. Yeah, I can't remember. I think Woo Themes was part of the inspiration, and at the time, because there were so few theme shops, it was quite easy to get sort of publicity, and people were talking about whatever you made. So we took off quite well. I think I should have capitalized on it a bit more. We didn't make as much of it as we could. We both had like full-time jobs, and if we'd have dug in a bit more, maybe we could have been a bit bigger. But
Yeah. So how did that kind of landscape change? Like, was there a dramatic change like towards premium themes and suddenly a massive explosion in that market, or was that quite gradual?
I think we sort of had it to ourselves for a while. I mean, not just us, obviously, but the sort of earlier shops. There was sort of a 10 or 15 shops, I guess, that were had had it to themselves for a little while, and then people started to see that there was money, and it's a fairly easy thing to get into, really. So, uh, yeah, I mean, now we're drowning. There's so many shops that you can set up really easily. You can sell on ThemeForest or whatever. It's a very easy thing to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting. So, in terms of like bringing the conversation to pricing,
Hmm.
what were you charging for your themes back then?
Oh, I don't remember back then. I think it was about $59 ish. Um, yeah, we didn't have a plan. We just thought this sounded like a nice number, uh, and I've always sort of stuck to that. I haven't done any sort of maths or we worked out what I should charge. I just charge what feels right.
And I guess if people are buying and you're kind of making enough money at that price point, then it sort of continues to feel like the right price to some extent.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So where do you sell your themes today?
On prothemedesign.com
Yeah.
and on WordPress.com.
Okay. So are they the same themes on
Yes.
both platforms? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. On ProTheme Design, I add a few extra bits because WordPress.com's got quite strict guidelines on what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
But largely it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
And it's the same price point on both as well.
I charge slightly more off of WordPress.com because it's more support generally. WordPress.com, they have a support team who do some of it for me, and like you don't have to worry about server requirements and conflicting plugins and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I charge a bit more, but I have actually changed my pricing on Pro Theme Design. Um, I for a long time I did like flat, it's $80 thing, but now I've started doing the subscription plan, so I charge a bit less and you get all the themes. But I'm hoping that you'll renew every year.
Yeah. Okay, let's dig into that because I find that really interesting on your site when I was looking through it,
Hmm.
and I obviously went to look at the prices of the themes,
Yeah.
and I found that yeah, you have a kind of um, this yearly rate for kind of like a bundle or like
Hmm.
a kind of club membership where you get
Yeah.
access to everything. Um, when did you switch to that model, and what was the reason behind that?
I think I switched a bit late. I think a lot of theme shops have switched to that now. I switched, it was early this year.
Okay.
I've always put it off because as a customer, I don't like subscription things. I'd rather just pay and use it. But I think I'm a bit more technical and I don't need the support often. And to make Pro Theme Design more sustainable, I think a subscription plan's better because I've got that yearly income, hopefully, if people stick around.
Yeah. Did you notice a change? I remember reading a blog post. I think it was from Pippin's plugins, and
Hmm.
whenever they switched to like automatic renewal, they just saw
Hmm.
revenue shoot right up. Did you notice a change from moving model? Was there any resistance to it, or was it just business as usual?
Well, I've had less people uh, subscribe versus buying. So at the moment the monthly income's gone down, but it's too early because I charge yearly, so I've got to wait another few months before people start renewing.
And then hopefully, obviously, that's when the benefits kick in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen that some people have like they've subscribed and they've bought the thing and they've already cancelled their subscription, but at the moment it's about 60% I think who are going to uh, resubscribe. So I'm hoping that will continue, and they won't, because I I quite like the auto renewal thing is good because it gets you the money, but equally, like, I don't want people to contact me after they've been auto renewed and say like, oh, what's this payment? Why am I being charged? Um, so I've got it set up so that they get an email like a week before it renews, saying, hey, it's going to renew in a week, so they know what's happening. But I'm also sort of expecting that some people are going to say, well, I don't need that anymore, and unsubscribe. So I've got fingers crossed. I'm hoping that some of them renew.
Yeah, that's certainly happened with us because we sell a couple of
Right.
plugins and we switched to a kind of automatic renewal, and we did the same thing in that they get an email, customers get an email
Yeah.
like a week or two before, just reminding them that the renewal's coming up,
Yeah.
and it has happened that they've had the email, the renewal has taken place, and then we get an email saying why we've been charged or whatever.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's fine. We just, if they don't want the product, we offer a refund. It's no problem at all. So it definitely happens. People kind of miss those emails or just don't pay attention to them, which
Yeah.
is totally understandable, isn't it? But yeah,
It
hopefully
is.
you'll see plenty of people renewing.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
So when they do renew, I guess
Hmm.
the value that you're providing at that point is ongoing support and updates. Do you update the themes regularly?
Yes. Yeah. I try to update all the themes at least once a year, but often it's more than once.
And what kind of updates would there be?
I don't have like my themes are quite simple, which might sound bad. I try to keep options, and like I don't make these monster themes that have millions of settings and whatnot. So all my updates try to be, it's either bug fixes, well, if someone reports a problem, or it's like incremental things that improve the theme without making it more complex. So, as an example, like recently, Google did the Google Fonts thing where you can preload stuff. I can't remember what it's called now, but I added that to all the themes that use Google Fonts. So it's like a small improvement that makes their website a bit faster, um, and they get it for nothing. Just update the theme, and their website's a little bit
Yeah,
better.
yeah, cool. And then from a support angle, we had actually a question on Twitter for you. It was how does Binary Moon put a monetary value on the support clients may require? So you said right at the start, you kind of the price is not quite out of thin air, but it was a kind of gut feel. So I mean, obviously, you do have to give some amount of support. Do you keep track of that? Do you have a feel for, on average, a theme takes X number of hours to support in a year?
I have not worked that out. No,
Yeah,
no. I try to keep my themes like really simple. Uh, the support is fairly minimal. I try to put a lot of emphasis on documentation, and reusing things as well. So when people contact me about problems, I'll try to work out a solution, and then I'll save it somewhere so that if someone else has the same problem, I can just copy and paste, and
yeah,
it makes it a lot quicker to fix.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
There's a lot of problems you can fix with CSS, I've found. That's one of the things I learned from customer support for themes.
Yeah,
A remarkable amount of things. Like just, I want to get rid of this feature. It's like, okay, display none.
yeah, yeah,
it's yeah, it's very handy.
yeah. Interesting. Do you know who your clients are in the sense of are they the end user or are they web designers stroke consultants who are putting sites together for the client?
It's a mix of both, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I get a lot of bloggers, and I've sort of focused on magazine themes.
yeah,
So I get a lot of sort of bloggers that want to make like video game sites or things like that, and to sell advertising. So yeah, I get a lot of that, but I do occasionally get the agencies or small theme shops or sorry, theme designers that want to sell to clients.
yeah. Because I was interested whenever I saw the kind of bundle model. I
Hmm.
was thinking presumably that's to target like web professionals who are going to effectively resell
Yeah,
your work.
yeah.
But it's interesting that you say it's primarily bloggers. So do you think that they would get a bundle and try out a few of those themes, or do you think they've got a theme in that bundle in mind and they just want that one? Or do you
I
have any?
think often they just want the one specific one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think the bundle's not that important to them. I think, well, I hope that the support is the bit that they want.
I'm intrigued as to how long it takes to actually develop a new theme.
Well, when I started, well, our first theme took months, months and months and months, and we didn't have Git or SVN or anything like that at the time. So we were uh, both of us were developing live on a server, which wasn't great because we often overwrote each other's changes and stuff. But now everything's in Git, and but the process, I think, it took a long time to start with, then it got really quick, and now it's getting longer and longer again because now, whilst the theme is simple, I'm putting a lot of emphasis on things like accessibility and speed and just testing, making sure that it works in all the different scenarios. Like my test suite, I have, because you can't really test themes automatically. So I've got this loads and loads of content on a demo site, and then a big long list of links. And I just open all the links in a browser. So I have like 50 tabs, and then I just go through and test every page individually. And I have to test it in full screen and mobile, and it takes a while. And then each time you find a problem, you have to start the test all over again because it might change something else.
And so does that test include like
Yeah,
uh titles that are really short and titles that are really long and all that kind of stuff? Like could you just try to break it as
yeah, and
yeah,
different types of pagination and
yeah.
404s and search results that don't return results. And each time you get a customer that's like, oh, well, this is broken, I'm like, oh, I never thought of using it that way. You have to add a new test, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's quite a long list now.
And then but obviously you find that that's worth it in the end because you catch all these things
Yeah,
and then you don't have all these support requests further down the line.
exactly. If I can make it as resilient as possible, then it's gonna work, and I can not have to talk to people.
You mentioned building in new I don't really want to call it a feature, but things like taking accessibility a bit more seriously and performance.
Hmm.
Are they things that your customers care about, or is that more for yourself almost?
Honestly, I don't think they probably do care. Um,
Yeah,
I've had a few customers that have contacted me and asked if my themes are accessible, and so I've pointed them to the ones that have had an accessibility review,
yeah,
and they've been quite grateful. But that's like 3 or 4 people.
yeah,
I imagine like the average blogger probably wouldn't know what accessibility is. So yeah, it's more for me and uh, feeling like I'm doing the right thing.
yeah. No, that's kind of what I expected to say. We definitely work with some clients. We've built a multi-site for a client, and
Right,
there's hundreds of websites on it, and the the end user of those websites are they're not paying a lot for this service,
right,
and it's a kind of fairly basic website, and occasionally you get one of those people coming in and there's been an outside audit run, and there's they've run it through some tool and suddenly it's like why isn't this and this and this and this and this thing. So yeah, and,
yeah,
and it's great whenever you can turn around and say, well, we are hitting like a lot of these targets. So
yeah,
it kind of, and like you say, it's totally the right thing to do. I think if you can build in good accessibility and make it work for you from a kind of time and price point of view, then you're doing a good thing for the internet, for the
yeah,
web. So yeah, that's really positive.
yeah.
But
I
so
hope
other
so.
features. So when a customer, I know these are difficult questions because you're not in the mind of a customer whenever they're making
Hmm.
purchasing decisions. But when someone
Yeah,
is looking to buy a theme and you're on one of your themes is on the short list, do you know how they're comparing themes? Like what what are they looking at? Is it purely that looks nice visually? you've got a nice demo site and the price point isn't going to put them off? Or do you know that they look for certain features, for example, like performance, probably not so much accessibility, but potentially things like accessibility?
I I don't know, but I imagine it's a lot of its looks. Like, does it look like what I want, how I want my site to look? And then features, but not so much performance features, as in like, does it support WooCommerce, or can I have a slider on the homepage or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that sort of thing.
And so you think like primarily the people that buy your themes buy them because they're the most attractive that they've looked at, or they kind of match the aesthetic that they're looking for.
Or the ones that match what they want to do. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
So that's interesting. What I'm trying to kind of get at is the value that your customers see in your offering. Um, because I'm always interested, more and more so now, and hence the podcast, and talking to you about how people perceive value and how
yeah.
price kind of comes into that equation.
Okay.
Because obviously, if you're selling, I think, was it, what's your yearly bundle? Is it 59?
59, I think. Yeah.
That's cheap, right? Like,
It is really. Yeah.
co-
Yeah.
compared to that same blogger, for example, coming to an agency like mine and
Hmm.
saying, will you build me a theme? And we would charge thousands, potentially tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's just such an interesting. There's such interesting extremes because
Yeah.
lots of people have bought your themes and are using your themes, and they
Mm.
find value in them, and they're doing the job that they want. But people
Yeah.
will also still pay us tens of thousands of pounds to. I don't want to say effectively do the same thing, but it's pretty it's close. It's
Yeah, I think when they go to you though, they get like the person to person thing. They get like a bespoke product that's just for them. Whereas I make something cheap and I'll sell it to dozens of people, and they all have sites that look the same. So there's a bit more. There's a lot more individuality in what you do. And also they can come back to you and say, hey, I want this feature, and you're not going to say, well, here's a plugin that might do what you want, and I'm not going to help you with it.
that's true. Yeah,
You're actually going to help them, and well, possibly charge them more,
yeah,
but you'll help them and you'll get the feature working.
yeah. That is true. I wonder if also the time scales are important and part of the value, because
Yeah, that's
obviously
true.
coming to us, it's a long process.
Hmm.
Whereas I can land on Pro Theme Design and have a website and a theme that day
Yeah,
that looks great.
yeah.
So that's also a big part of it. I think you already answered this earlier, but have you ever played with your pricing in the sense of tried something really extravagantly expensive?
I haven't done that. No, I've tried playing with the numbers. We've gone up and down a bit. Then I've tried like $59 versus $60 to see if the that $1 makes a difference.
Did it?
Not really, no. The all the blog posts say to use the 9, so that's what I ended up going with. But
Yeah,
yeah, when I tried it, it didn't seem to make any difference either way. But no, I've never actually made a really expensive theme. I think if people are going to pay thousands of dollars for like a pre-built theme, then I think they'd want something else.
yeah,
Like I'd considered doing a really expensive theme and then saying I'm only going to sell it 10 times,
yeah,
or putting some sort of limit on it so that it's not, you're not going to end up with it on dozens of sites.
yeah,
But I think as well, if people are going to pay $1,000, they could go to a small web designer and say, "Can you make me exactly what I want?"
yeah. That's true. Yeah, because I was thinking like, I wonder what is the most that you could charge. I mean, I wonder if you put a theme up there for $500, would someone buy it? I mean, if it's the theme for them, they are. I noticed you have I think it's a car themed theme on the
Yep.
shop. Like a particular car enthusiast might look at that and just think, yes, I found it. That's the one. and you know,
Yeah,
I'll pay whatever. You know, I was talking to this other themed or WordPress development shop, and they're quoting me thousands of pounds, but here it is, it's right in front of me, I can have it today. You know, it's 500 quid.
I think potentially, I think they could, but I mean, the market's going to be a lot smaller because you get these niche themes on Theme Forest that are targeted at specific things, a bit like that,
Right.
and they cost like $20. So you can't you can't really compete with that. So I can't really go too high either. So my limit was always $79. But I know like Pixel Grade they sell for sort of 200 plus. So there are people charging more, but it's not super common.
And why do you think they can charge more? What's their? I haven't seen them, haven't heard of them. What's their kind of value proposition in terms of why they justify the price, or do they not need to? I don't.
I don't know. I think they're saying like we're a premium product and you'll get a premium thing, and their themes are beautiful. Like, they're really
Yeah,
nice. Um, and they've got like a whole team. So if you want support, it's not going to be like, if someone wants support, it's me,
yeah,
and if someone there's a problem, it's me, and if the bug needs fixing, it's me. So they've got a whole team that can help instantly, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's the premium thing because the reason I've always charged more until this subscription bundle, but the reason I've always charged more is that I felt that if you charge more, you're probably going to value it a bit more, and the people willing to spend a bit more are probably going to respect you a bit more. I hope. Like if you're trying to get something for nothing, then you're probably going to value people's time at nothing as well, and sort of constantly send in support tickets and complain about things. And I don't have much of that, so I'm hoping that's why.
yeah, and also because you build them well and test them well.
I try to, yeah.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of requests for features, or do you find that people know what they're buying and they're just, you know, they're happy with what they get?
Not much, no. No, I think mostly people know what they're getting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay. I listened to a podcast a couple of days ago, actually, and the guy was talking about pay what you want pricing.
Okay.
And I thought there's a really interesting model.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a book all about the topic, which I think I need to read. And I'd actually love to get him on the show at some point just to
Yeah.
talk about it. I just wonder if something like that could potentially work in your space, because you could have you could have the same theme and you could have three buttons or whatever saying
Yeah.
buy this for $20, buy it for $50, buy it for $200, and you never know. You know,
Maybe.
yeah, I think it could be really interesting to experiment with things like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I hadn't really considered that. I mean, I know it's a thing in video games. A lot of indie developers do that, where it's like it costs $5, but if you want to spend 10, you can. And I know that people do sometimes add extra. So yeah, I hadn't considered that. I've thought about Patreon. Have you heard of that?
I have. That was my next question. Yeah,
Okay, there you go then. Yeah, because I'm currently making a free theme, and I'd considered Patreon for supporting that.
yeah,
But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not entirely sold on it. So
yeah. It feels to me like Patreon works when you have an audience that are kind of buying into your personal brand. You know,
I think so. Yeah, you need like a strong
yeah.
following.
I think I've heard of Patreon working well with podcasts, like popular podcasts, for example, and
Yeah.
you can imagine. I think the Tim Ferriss do something like that recently, where he's taken sponsorship off his podcast. I think it's one of the most popular podcasts in the world, and he's
All right.
taken sponsorship off it, and he's asking for. I don't know if it's through Patreon, but I think he's asking for donations. He's gone for that model just to see if it
Okay.
works,
Yeah.
because it feels like a nice model, doesn't it? It's like the people that you're helping
Yeah.
are giving you a little bit, and you don't have to rely on that kind of corporate sponsorship thing, which kind of it's a bit of a pain, and it
Yeah.
also you've got to put this big garish sponsor right in the middle of the show and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it feels like a really
Mm.
nice model.
Yeah. We've considered it for MasterWP. We think it might be handy, but
Yeah, I think that could work, yeah, because you guys do have sponsors at the minute, don't you? I think on the
We have one sponsor per issue.
yeah. We'll get back to the newsletter in a minute. Definitely,
Okay.
I'd like to finish off talking about some things like that.
Okay.
There was one more question that I didn't read. The first one, by the way, I don't think I read out the name. The first question I asked was from Matthew Poole. This second one, it's support as well. So it's by Steve Perry, and it's a similar question, but I'll read it out anyway. It must take a good amount of time to build and support them, as in the themes.
Yeah.
Is the payoff worth it?
Yeah. I yeah, I do it. I earn a living from it, so yeah, I'm happy with spending time building things and supporting them.
Yeah, well, it's been a really interesting conversation. It's a fascinating place, like a market, and I would have thought in this day and age, and maybe it is really hard. Like it would be highly saturated, but you seem to be successful with it and making it work for you. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's great to see, and the themes do look beautiful. ProThemeDesign.com, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So check that out. Just coming back then to your newsletter.
Yep.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah. So a few years ago, Alex Denning and I, we've been friends for a long time. We used to work at the same games company, and we were talking about doing something together with WordPress, and we tried a few different things, and none of them were working. And then we were like, well, we've built up this list of people on MailChimp. Let's start a newsletter. So that's what we created. We made MasterWP.co, which is a newsletter for WordPress professionals. But we tend not to do like hardcore WordPress news. We have 5 articles each week, and normally the first 2 are WordPressy, or at least 2 are WordPressy. But then the others are things that we think that people who use WordPress will be interested in. So it's stuff like productivity or getting things done tips, accessibility, general web development and learning, and things like that. And it seems to be going quite well.
I've got to say I've been on that mailing list for quite a while now, and I really enjoy it. And
Thank you.
For me, the thing I enjoy most isn't actually the links and the articles that you share. It's your take on them.
Oh, awesome.
I love the fact that you both. It's not just. I subscribe to a lot of WordPress newsletters, and a lot of them are. It's just a massive list of links, and sometimes they're catchy pun-based headlines and things, and that's great. But what I really love is reading. You guys take time to read the articles, understand what they're about and the implications of them. And give your take on them, and I often just read what you guys write and don't actually read the article.
Okay. Cool.
So I highly recommend anybody to check it out. MasterWP.co, I think you said.
Yes, that's right.
Super. Ben, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. It's been a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Good luck with the theme business, and I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks a lot, Ben.
All right. Thanks a lot.
That wraps up today's interview with Ben Gillbanks. Thanks so much to Ben for taking the time to talk to me and share his insights into the premium theme world. You can find Ben on Twitter @BinaryMoon or over at ProThemeDesign.com. I'd also recommend signing up to the MasterWP newsletter for a weekly dose of inspiration and things you need to know in the world of WordPress. If you enjoyed this show, head over to pricingwp.highrise.digital, where you can find links to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes, which you won't want to miss out on because I have some amazing guests lined up for future shows. I'll be talking to freelancers, huge WordPress agencies, plugin developers, as well as looking outside of WordPress and bringing in top experts on pricing psychology, value-based pricing, and more. pricingwp.highrise.digital to find out more and subscribe. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can find me on Twitter @KeithDevon, or can find highrise.digital @highrisedigital, or through our website highrise.digital. Enjoy the rest of your day, thanks for listening, and see you next time.